I know y'all coming up in here like, whose live is this? What's the reggae? What's going? What's up, y'all? I just really wanted to start the live off like that. I don't really know why, but come on in, y'all. Let's get to my vibe. Y'all know my vibes. Y'all know the vibes. Y'all already know the vibes. I'm gonna give it a few minutes for some people to join us, but I have a quick update for everybody. I know that everybody has been on Beyonce's internet letting y'all know all about the hearing the transcript. Shout out to Max V World Media. Shout out to Lisa Says What. Shout out to the Bigo Streets for Miss Cherry the Boom. Everybody is in on it. And on their game, bringing you guys the updates and reporting. I love it. I love it. Everybody holding their little corners and holding strong. So big up to everybody. If y'all are not already subscribed to the people that I mentioned, their links will be in the description of this video. And if you do cruise the Bigo Streets, please feel free to stop in on Miss Cherry and gift the host. But guys, so everybody has been talking about the transcript. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. In my review of the transcript, it kind of left me a little speechless. Hey, welcome to the room, Susan. Hey, Michelle. How y'all doing? Y'all in the bushes. Hey, I see y'all. Can y'all please smash the like button for me? Just one time. Because I'm going to go on ahead and get started. Anybody else that's going to come in, they could catch it on the replay. But replay gang, y'all know I rocks with y'all. Heavy. So everybody has been talking about this new evidence, the new presented evidence by the prosecution, the transcripts and all that. Very interesting, very thought-provoking information. Now, I've had to sit, I'm going to be honest, I'm going to have to sit with it for a couple of days before I give any remarks and or opinions, because to be honest with you, I don't know what else I could say. I think that the three witnesses laid out their experiences individually. And, I believe they spoke their truth. What is their truth to them? People cannot take away your experiences, and it doesn't matter. We all have our individual experiences. So I don't know. I mean, I'm gonna sit with it for a little bit, toss it around, play it a couple of times. I've played it a couple of times to myself because I downloaded it on a reader so I could hear it instead of reading it, because y'all already know how my eyes go. I could have read it on paper too, but I didn't feel like using my little gadgets. But at any rate, I'm gonna just, I'm gonna sit back for a minute. But what I wanted to bring to y'all today was Booker's response. Booker has submitted his response. Hey, Lisa, welcome. He has submitted his response. Okay. So let me do this first. Hold on, y'all. Now, I'm not trying to be funny, mean, ugly, or nothing. I'm dropping this link for my co-host, Miss Lisa Says What. If she's available and able to come up, I would love to have her. This is not chat and chill, y'all. This is an actual update, and I want to have this video somewhat for preservation. So I just want to be clear on that. Like, I'd love to have everybody come up right now and we could chop it up, but now is a different time. We got to talk and report on this, give this update. So if Lisa wants to come up, Lisa, you can come up if you want. Hit the link. I'll be waiting, but I'm going to continue, right? Because she's probably busy. It's early morning, I think, still there. But at any rate, folks, let's get into Booker's response. This was filed with the Superior Court today.
Filed February 8th, 2024, 11:31. AM Clerk of SUPER, IORCOUR, DeKalb County, Georgia. In the Superior Court of DeKalb County, State of Georgia, Case No. 22-0-2234. Against 2 feet. Eligio Bishop. Defendant's brief in response to the state's notice of intent to introduce other acts. Evidence pursuant to OCGA 12-4-4-413 and 24-4-400 and Farage. On or about January 25, 2024, this honorable court held an evidentiary hearing to consider the state's proposed evidence under OCGA 24-4-413 and OCGA 24-4-404B. In the instant case, the defendant is charged with rape, false imprisonment, and electronic transmission of nude or sexually explicit material. For total of counts, the alleged victim in each of the counts is the same. The state seeks to introduce evidence of what they would describe as other sexual assaults. Of the testimony of the 3 evidentiary witnesses presented on January 25, 2024. Only one of the 3 even remotely alleged sexual assault.
Okay, so this one I am going to give my commentary to, because he says only one of the 3 alleged victims reference SA. And I know you guys have heard it on Max's channel. I'm sure many of you have heard it on Lisa Says What's channel. If you haven't, please check out the replay. They actually read the complete transcript. I'm preparing a video of it. But I think he's mistaken here. I think he's extremely mistaken. Maybe I'll just give my live reaction now. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm going to do my live reaction now with y'all. Why did this not play? Uh-oh. Did I break something?
County Honorable Court. The state further seeks to admit what it describes as evidence of the defendant's physical violence.
I guess I can't
In
pause
the instant matter, the defendant is not charged with an act of physical violence. The evidence at trial is expected to be that the defendant had sexual intercourse with the purported victim in room of house where the defendant lived with the accuser and others. The state has not provided any evidence of any physical restraint or violence against the alleged victim in order to have sex on the date at issue. The defendant is not charged with any counts of battery, assault, or the like against the accuser. The defendant is instead charged with false imprisonment by allegedly confining the accuser against her will. There is no allegation within the indictment that the defendant behaved in violent manner, or that the accused was injured or harmed in any way as a result of the alleged false imprisonment. The defendant is not alleged to use physical violence in order to effectuate the alleged false imprisonment. The 3 evidentiary witnesses did in fact describe alleged acts of physical violence, but there has been no allegation of physical violence in the instant case. There would be no probative value in permitting the 3 evidentiary witnesses to testify to acts of physical violence. The state alleges that the defendant posted sexually explicit videos of the alleged victim in the instant case after she left as means of harassment. The state fails to assert to the court that the same videos were posted prior to the alleged victim leaving and were active internet videos months before the alleged victim left the house. The evidence provided by the state in fact shows that the purported videos were on the internet prior to the date in the indictment. In Macru First State 349 GA App 174 825 seconds E2 Dev 569 2019. The Georgia Court of Appeals overturned lower court's ruling in allowing the testimony of wife against her husband for alleged separate sexual acts against their 2 children. The court held that the acts were not dissimilar, involved different children, and that the testimony was extremely prejudicial. In the instant matter, there is unquestionable extreme prejudice in the offered testimony of the 3 evidentiary witnesses. The defendant's alleged actions in the current indictment are not what at least 2 of the 3 purported evidentiary witnesses testified to.
I don't understand. Like, why is Robert Booker acting like he was in a different courtroom planet? Y'all, he acting like. Let me continue. I'm switching apps
before the alleged victim left the house.
So hold on.
The evidence provided by the state in fact shows that the purported videos were on the internet prior to the date in the indictment. In Macru first state 3 extreme prejudice in the offered testimony.
Wait a minute.
App 174 825 seconds. E2 569 2019. The Georgia Court of Appeals overturned lower court's ruling in allowing the testimony of wife against her husband for alleged separate sexual acts against their 2 children. The court held that the acts were not dissimilar, involved different children, and that the testimony was extremely prejudicial. In the instant matter, there is unquestionable extreme prejudice in the offered testimony of the 3 evidentiary witnesses.
What does he think is going to prejudice? Why does he think that their testimony will be prejudicial? How can it be prejudicial when it's to establish a baseline of life in the cult for the women? I don't understand that. While the alleged victim didn't bring up, like he physically assaulted me, she did say that she was assaulted that night. Am I wrong, y'all? Correct me if I'm wrong. But that was put out there. It wasn't by him physically, not with his hands, no. But she got into it with the women. And the women even made that clear on the malicious prosecution video. So I don't know. I'm not checking for this response.
Alleged actions in
and when I say I'm not checking for it, I don't understand. He needs to come better than this. And then the case he cited, I'm gonna look up the case and I'm gonna try to draw the inference, because I'm starting to feel a little Chief Mr. T ish here about Robert Booker. Like, what is going on? Who does he have? Where does he find these people? Like,
indictment are not what at least 2 of the 3 purported evidentiary witnesses testified to. The evidentiary witnesses did not describe evidence of false imprisonment and rape. The probative value.
Witness number 3 did mention that her documentation was kept away from her without money in foreign countries. Like, this is, I don't. Oh, God. Oh, my goodness. Why? Like, this is such a bad, sad, like, I'm sorry. I have to be honest. This is a bad, sad argument. Hey, Osan. Hey, Wendell. Welcome. I'm just up here running my mouth, giving y'all the quick update from Robert Booker. He responded, and this is his response, and I'm doing a live reaction to it. So here we go. Let's continue.
Is minor compared to the prejudicial effect. The court has to balance the probative versus prejudicial value, but most also consider the probability of confusion of the issues. In the instant case, the defendant is alleged to have had sex with the accuser alone in room, and furthermore acted in concert with others to keep the alleged victim from leaving the home here in Georgia. The 3 evidentiary witnesses complained of being misled by the defendant's cult and polygamous lifestyle, but have not provided information in any way similar to that of the accuser in the instant case. Furthermore,
one of the witnesses, again, witness number 3, indicated that one day she was walking and oh, hold on. Let me see. Somebody's here. Must be Lisa. She was walking. Hey.
Hey, oh, my bad. This is Wendell.
Oh, no, Wendell. I'm sorry. I had dropped the link for Lisa because this is official business and I want this video to be for prosperity. But if you want to come up here and give your opinion on it, go ahead, because you're already up here.
Oh, I was just going to say I saw this coming from the way in the transcript how
Mm-hmm.
all the women's testimony is it's obvious that those accounts happened, and what he's saying is that that would be important if they were the ones putting charges on him, but because he's not charged with any of those acts, they're just there as to make the jury feel a way about him, and that's why they're called. That's why he's saying it's their testimony is only to enrage the jury because they're not witnesses to what happened in that room. They're only telling you what happened to them. And he's saying, what does that have to do with the case, except for to
But
make
you
the
don't
people
think
mad?
that draws inference, though, Wendell? Come on.
No, no, no. I'm saying what he was just saying. Like, you asked the question, why would he say it's prejudicial? They are
Right.
not witnesses to what happened in that house. They're witnesses to what happened to them and whatnot. So he's saying that because they can only tell you what happened to them and not what
Mm-hmm.
happened in the house, their testimony is really only important if they themselves decide to bring charges against him in a later date. Then what they say would be important. But he's arguing that because they were not there, they're talking about something totally different from the case. Their testimony. They're only bringing. He said this should not be brought in because it's just to make the jury mad at his client. It has nothing to do with the case. That's what he's. I had a feeling that's where he was headed when he was asking the questions and stuff like that, because he was saying these people are not witnesses and whatnot. They are victims basically of his client. You see what I'm saying? And so that would prejudice his client because hey, he's done this before. That's the main reason that they are there, and he's trying to keep that out because he don't. This would make them feel away like, oh, he did this before, and and
Right.
and it's obvious that he did it before, and so that they're not witnesses to anything in this case, but they are a character of his morality that this man is a predator, and their testimony will prove that he's a predator, and that and what they call the preponderance of evidence. If you got all of that saying that this is what he does, this is his character, this is the nature of this man, even though they said disregard it because it don't have nothing to do with it, they all gonna say yeah. And he knows that. That's why he's trying not to get this testimony entered in and whatnot, because they are not witnesses; they are victims, and of his client. And that's the main reason he don't want this testimony in and whatnot, because they are not witnesses, and so their main thing is to prejudice the jury against his client because they are victims. That's all I wanted to say. I mean that's what I'm thinking he's doing and whatnot. He said they're not the witnesses, so why would they have anything to do with this case? They can bring their own charges, but the charges in this case is what he did to this other young lady, and they and nothing that they said had anything to do with that young lady. It has to do with them. But
Hello.
that's all I wanted to say.
That makes sense. I get what you're saying. Hey y'all.
I'm gonna drop
Can you
back
hear me?
down, but yep.
Hello? Hello? Can you hear me? Medea. Oh, am I in the back?
Hey, Lisa.
Hey. You can hear me?
Did you finish?
No, I was listening to you.
You're here. I
Can you hear
said,
me?
have you finished reading it? Yeah, have
No,
you
I didn't. No, I just read a little
finished
bit and
reading
then I started listening. So
it?
I'm
Oh,
doing it in
well,
real time. I'm listening.
continue real quick, guys, so because it's
Yeah.
that long.
Century witnesses have given numerous video interviews over the years. Many of the interviews provide direct impeachment. Defendant will be required to present to the jury in order to defend himself, not against the case at hand, but just against these three extraneous allegations that are simply unrelated and likely to confuse the jury. In State v. Dowdell, 335 GA. App 773. E2D 138. The Georgia Court of Appeals held that lower court was correct in ruling that the state's need in admitting the evidence was outweighed by the lack of accusations and the one at issue. The lower court also further considered and ruled correctly that the introduction of the additional accusations would certainly confuse the trial. In that matter, the allegation is not complex one. The accuser alleges the defendant raped her itself is not complex allegation and will lead to fairly straightforward trial. In the event that the court allows in these other acts requested by the state, the straightforward and streamlined case will no longer exist, as the defendant will need to thoroughly defend himself with all available evidence against each of these accusers, and the accuser in the indicted case. Furthermore, the Georgia Court of Appeals held that it was proper for the court to focus on 24-4-413 material and whether it was more probative than prejudicial, before considering the offered evidence for other relevant purposes, or not. The state alleges that the defendant committed acts of aggravated sodomy in their prior acts allegations. Only one of the three evidentiary witnesses testified to an act of sodomy. The accuser in the instant case does not allege sodomy, but instead gives an interview where she describes lovemaking with the defendant.
Now, Lisa, you hear that part?
I did. Huh? Yes, I did. Can you hear me?
Yes, he's planning to use that video.
I knew it. That was the only rabbit he has. Hey, Miss Leo. Yeah, that's the only rabbit he has because he doesn't want the jury to be, he's making a distinction between sodomy and vaginal sex. And that was his opportunity to bring in the whole lovemaking aspect.
Right.
So that is going to be his defense, ladies and gentlemen. It says, but instead give an interview where she describes lovemaking with the defendant. The jury will have to decide if they believe a sexual act occurred and whether it was against the accuser's will. I think that she is clear, and the other witnesses are clear that it was not a violent, a violent R word. That this was more coercive and intimidation.
Mm-hmm.
You know, nobody said that I was, grabbed and thrown to the floor, and and I think that juries are sophisticated enough to understand the anatomy of the R word.
Right. Let's continue.
The jury will have to decide if they believe sexual act occurred and whether it was against the accuser's will. The state's accusation of prior act of aggravated sodomy by intimidation does in no way comport with the case brought by the state in the matter at hand. The description of this alleged other act does not in any way provide probative knowledge to the jury. In State v. Chalkeen, 2023, GA, Applexus 555 at 23 1737, the Georgia Supreme Court ruled the major function of Rule 403 is to exclude matters of scant or cumulative probative force, dragged in by the heels for the sake of its prejudicial effects due to the danger that the jury may convict the defendant not for the offense charged, but for the extrinsic offense.
You heard that?
Okay. Yes. So what he's saying is that the state can't make its case against the victim, so they're going to bring in all these prior bad acts and convict him on those charges. And if I were his attorney, I would bring that up too. I don't agree that there's no probative value in their testimony. But he's trying to distinguish that because they were, and I think he's more focusing on witness number 2 and the sodomy.
Yeah. He knows it's the Bible Belt.
Yes. Yes.
He knows.
Absolutely.
But I mean, as I listen to it and continue through it, he's pulling a couple of rabbits out.
Okay.
Wouldn't you say,
But like
Lisa?
I said, if his only um rebuttal is that video, if he's relying solely on that, he's in trouble. Because that can be explained
Let's
away
listen.
that these people were in a
Let's listen
cult.
to the
Okay.
rest of his response.
Yeah, because the conclusion is approaching.
The jury would certainly be exposed to tremendous amount of extrinsic material that would certainly tend to convince the jury that the defendant is cult leader and rapes all the women within the cult and furthermore treats them with acts of violence to control them. The evidentiary witnesses did not all testify to acts of physical violence or rape. The state alleges that the evidentiary witnesses were forced to have oral or anal sex due to zero fear of being harmed. The accuser in the instant case does not make such an allegation. The accuser does not report having sex due to the defendant's violent nature or because he purportedly threatened her to do so. The
Wait,
state
wait, pause,
contends that
pause.
without such context, it would be
Hmm.
The victim does say that she was, prior to the act, was abused. She does make that claim. She made the claim
Exactly.
that she was attacked prior to, so, and that she didn't want to resist because she didn't know what was going to happen to her. She had already been
Mm-hmm.
abused. So I think the judge is going to have to take that into consideration.
Absolutely.
possible for the jury to truly understand the victim's experience or to analyze the issue of consent in this case. The state simply fails to provide the court with actual evidence from the instant matter that the purported victim does not make such an accusation of similarity as that of the three evidentiary witnesses. Conclusion. The defendant requests that this honorable court exclude the testimony of all three witnesses introduced at the hearing. The defendant respectfully asks the court to closely analyze and review the testimony of each of the three witnesses and compare them to the actual allegations in the case at issue. The defendant is in possession of what he believes to be impeachment material for each of the alleged other act witnesses. The defendant's necessity in defending himself will further lead to confusion of the issues and far more prejudicial information being presented and refuted than if the current case remained solely based upon the issues at hand. The defendant respectfully requests this honorable court to deny the state's request to submit the evidence of other acts. Respectfully submitted this day of February 2024. Robert L. Booker G. Abarno.
Okay.
So
That's it.
So he
He
is
wants to.
afraid that he's going to have to defend against
Yep.
all four of them. He doesn't
Yep.
want to have, he said he believes that it's going to confuse the jury, that they won't know what what he's being charged with. That it could make them think that they could infer that the victim was beaten or sodomized. But I don't think that the state is trying to make that case at all. What the state is saying that this is um uh it's not like this is a one off, that the victim is just one of, that this has happened, this or similar acts has happened. Also, what I noticed is he did not bring in any did not have any objection to the fact that they were also put on the internet, that their videos were also posted in an act of revenge.
Right.
It's not mentioned in here at all.
Mm-mm. But I
I wonder if
believe
the state,
Wendell. I agree
uh-huh,
with Wendell's point. I agree with Wendell's point.
which I'm
Wendell
sorry,
said that Wendell said basically Booker is trying to discredit or exclude them because they weren't there the night of the actual indicted crime.
well, yeah, absolutely. Um, there was something else. Yeah, they weren't, but that's why it's called prior bad acts. You know,
Mhm.
they didn't have to be. And I believe, wait a minute, of those three, one of the three witnesses was definitely there and can definitely answer questions about that night.
Which one?
Witness number one.
Oh, witness number one.
Witness number one was there that night, was there after the fact,
Hmm.
and engaged with the victim. The three evidentiary witnesses did not all testify to acts of physical violence or R word, but they did. Three evidentiary witnesses did not all testify to acts of physical. Um, the victim that was the witness that was sodomized definitely said this was something she did not want, and she said that subsequently that this was
Yeah,
something
but
she did
remember,
not want to occur.
he also did get her to admit that verbally she didn't verbalize it. She said no in her to herself.
She said no, but it, all because her explanation for that was because she had just witnessed other
Yeah.
someone else being violently beaten for opposing him.
Yeah.
You know, just because I mean it was a cult, you know, and I assume I don't know if the prosecutors are going to, but they really need to have somebody in the courtroom to explain the anatomy of these kind of destructive cults and what they do to the psyche of the members.
I know. That would be
You know, and
beneficial.
it's
I
not to
hope
say
they
that they
do
won't.
get that. Hmm.
I say it's not to say that they won't have one. I just don't know if they will. So I wonder how long it's going to take Judge Heydrich to make her decision.
I don't know. She doesn't have the briefs from well, they haven't published the briefs from the prosecution yet.
I wonder if the prosecution is
We
going
can,
to.
both of them have to respond
Okay,
and
okay,
produce arguments for each side.
they're cutting it close.
Yeah, they are.
But there hasn't been a pre-trial hearing, unless this is going to suffice. But I'm pretty sure there's other evidence that the defense attorney is going to want to object to. Don't you think?
I don't think he has any objection to any of the other discovery. They should have all discovery by now. The trial, guys, is in what, 13 days, Lisa?
13 days. Ooh, it makes my heart beat fast when I say it.
Oh
Wow.
my goodness.
Well, this is the hurry up and wait phase of the pre-trial. But Booker it makes a compelling argument though. He really does that this has not these prior bad acts have nothing to do with the initial complaint. That
Yeah.
these prior bad acts are simply to prejudice the jury. There's no probative value to them, and that this will only serve to confuse the jury, and Mr. Bishop will have to defend himself not against the initial claim but against all of these claims. He does, however, state that he has rebuttal. I mean, he can defend against them. That he has evidence to rebut them. You know what? He's going to have to take the stand and answer for all of this because who else can?
That's what I said. Who else is going to be able to explain what he meant by XYZ and
What is he? Yeah,
certain?
how is he going to explain you my B word? You belong
Yeah,
to me.
like I'll admit I'm wild and I'll get crazy, but like you gotta be careful what you say on Beyonce's internet.
Absolutely.
Because Big
Yep.
Brother's always watching, and if they ain't watching now, they can be.
They will be. They will be. Well, I mean, Booker gave it the old college try.
Yeah, he shot his. He gave his. He had to shoot his shot.
Yeah.
He
Yeah,
had
he
to
didn't
shoot
have
his
much
shot,
of
but I think he pulled a couple of rabbits out. But I don't know. I think the way that he's presenting it is extremely dismissive as far as not I'm not saying empathy wise, I'm just saying dismissive. He's not putting the building blocks together because what the prosecution intends with these prior acts is to show a pattern of behavior
Mm-hmm.
where in relation to sexual encounters with women.
Yes, but he wants to make it clear that there is a distinction between vaginal and sodomy, and that since the
That's
other
because he's in the Bible Belt.
yes, and it is illegal. Yeah, it is legal. Sodomy is legal in Georgia. The
Oh
Black
my
Hammer
goodness.
cult,
Hmm.
the Black Hammer cult is being charged with felony sodomy.
What?
Yeah. Mhm. Yep. But
Oh my
you
God.
know, uh if they so what do you think if the judge says, "You know what? This is prejudicial. There's no probative value here. The acts were different. The victim absolutely never made a claim that the the defendant ever was physically violent with her, you know, and she could side with Booker. I think the case is going to largely hinge on whether she allows these witnesses to testify.
Why?
Take them out of the loop, and what do you have? Take them out of the scenario.
You have a valid complaint of the R word.
Yes, but well, then you're going to have to come up against the whole lovemaking situation.
That's true.
You know, why did she feel like it was lovemaking and not the R word when she said it not once, not twice, but 3 times, and maybe more? That's going to be hard to overcome at this stage in the game. And she's going to have to be very, very careful and listen to the questions that are posed to her when it comes to that statement. You
Mhm.
know, that's why I think it's so important that the prosecutors bring someone in to discuss the mindset of cult victims and how they perceive things. I also think that it's very important that there was and I don't know if the prosecution has this video. I hope they do. Um, that
Which one?
states when she said we there's a video of the victim saying that this is regarding a totally different incident. This has nothing to do with the night in question, but
Mhm.
she was discussing sex with uh I don't know who she was discussing sex with, and she goes, and we effed, and he tells her, don't say effed, say make love. And
Oh.
so mm-hmm, mm-hmm, she was very vulnerable, very susceptible to his control. um, and that she did love the defendant. She had love for the defendant. She says that she
Yeah.
just gave in because she cared about him.
This is gonna be. It's gonna be. I mean, I think Booker's putting on his new shoes. You know what I'm saying? I ain't even. I'm not counting them out because while I don't understand why his rebuttal I guess he's trying to let them know, like, if they bring this case, he has video evidence to dismiss and discredit all of them.
Yes. I don't know what video evidence. All he can do is play the victim, I mean the witness that was singing his praises after the fact. After she left the cult. But that's easily dismissible. Once the prosecutor says, what was your life like after leaving the cult? Did you leave the cult on your own free will? Were you still indoctrinated? How long did it take you to be deprogrammed? And
do you see how he also said that the evidence is being presented or being submitted in an effort to prejudice the jury to brand his client as a cult leader?
yes, okay. I would go with the cult leader thing. And I would simply state this is not illegal. Being a cult leader is not like being a M worder or an R word. This is absolutely there's nothing illegal about being a cult leader. Some people viewed him as a cult leader. Some people viewed him as a spiritual teacher. Some people their master chief, and some people as their sexual guru. I would lean into it. I would not try to defend because there's too much video evidence of him
I
saying
know.
he's a cult leader. There's too much that he never. I mean, he rarely. He's admitted it. His own witness, Anna the God, called it a cult.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't try. I would, and as a cult leader, like he said, they lived a polygamous lifestyle, which I think could go either way. He lived a polygamous lifestyle. These women all knew what they were getting into. The sex was consensual at all times. That's what he's going to say. However, the defense is going to come back and say, well, obviously you wasn't, because these people are stating clearly that these act, especially the witness number one, with how does she refer to taking her virginity? Breaking her virginity.
Yes.
I don't think that the state wanted to go too much in depth at this trial, at this hearing, but hopefully they will. Hopefully they will go into a further in depth. How come you had never experienced sexual relations with them? What were you expecting? It was this anything. This could not have been the way she wanted to lose her virginity.
No.
She was not in love
But
with the victim.
at the time, she said she was caught off guard, and he was the Messiah.
Exactly.
Ain't no way Booker's gonna be able to remove the cult aspect from this trial.
No.
Mm-mm.
Because everybody in that view it as a cult leader. And when they see videos of him going, I am the return of the Christ, I am God. And
I'm almost 75% downloaded.
I'm almost 75% downloaded.
All that extra sugar, honey, iced tea, y'all.
Yep. Don't forget to hit the like button, y'all, in the chat and in the bushes. Hit the like button. And don't forget, this trip is very expensive. MEDAYA has dedicated so much time and energy. She's the reason why we had that document, the full transcript yesterday, you guys. If you are her follower and you are interested in this case and interested in justice for the victims, or if you're interested in justice for the accused, you should really continue to donate and hit that Cash App and slide Danny's plate a little change, preferably the kind that folds, not the kind that jingles. But
Yeah,
this is
enter
a
the
lot of work,
raffle
you
too,
guys.
guys.
Into the raffle, lay out a nice, donation so that this is comfortable, so that this is not, this doesn't become a burden. We're going to be in Atlanta, far away from home, for 7 days, maybe longer, depending
I'm
on
gonna have to
how
go down to P
soon.
Valley the way that these donations acting. You know P Valley?
Yes. If you guys don't
Down
want to
in the
see,
valley where the girls get naked. If you go back, then you know she gonna take it. 1, 2.
that is funny. Okay, wait a minute. What is Vlog Lurker saying? Two witnesses stated that they couldn't determine if they were SA'd Syrian, and said she didn't say no, but felt like she was manipulated into having sex, and the
Yeah.
other said something similar. Yes, he's saying because they didn't say no, no, I don't want to do this. They were afraid to. This was their spiritual leader. They they did not want to have sexual relation with them, especially with the defense can with the prosecutors can say both of these women came to be with other men. They came to be in relationships with other people other than Mr. Bishop. That sex with him was not the reason they joined the cult or the group, the tribe.
But
You
you
know.
know what really took me aback, and I told everybody like I don't. This evidence, this transcript is the first thing that um has me stumped
In what respect?
because it's like, okay, did you catch the part when Velvet said that he allowed her to leave only if she left her daughter?
Yes. Yes.
I didn't know that she left her daughter there.
I don't think she was gone for very long. I think she just was roaming around
Probably not. It was
in the
probably like
jungle.
a day, if that.
Yeah, she said she
Yeah.
roamed around, but she didn't have any money, so she returned. And they can bring up the fact that yes, I was afraid because he had done this before. He kidnapped his son from his son's mom. They can
Yes.
bring that in. Yes, I was afraid because I saw how he kept that baby. He and the mother was looking for her son, and he refused to return Osiris.
The one thing that I will say about all of them, the third witness had the most recall, in my opinion, as far as
Most.
giving accurate, like when asked, giving accurate details and complete, like concise, like, oh, yes, it was this, that, and that, and that. And, correcting the defense attorney when he made a mistake with the date.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay.
Definitely. Definitely. So you guys out there in replay gang, you're listening to this, you're getting all of the pertinent information leading up to the case. Drop Medea a little change. And definitely use it. There's gonna be Ubers and lifts that have to be cured, you know. Gotta be able to eat. We can't survive on instant coffee and saltine crackers.
I told
And
Lisa we gonna be on a diet worse than the B6 diet.
oh, we're gonna be on the B6 diet. We can't even afford fruit.
We gonna be on the B. We gonna be on the B nothing diet.
B0 diet. Miss Leo said y'all can get some tents. Uh,
I
in
already
my in
explored
my
the
in
idea
my
of tents.
tent. Yes, Miss Leo. Do you guys have bail money? Because they will arrest us for what is that they always get arrested for? Criminal
Loitering or
trespass.
trespass.
Yes, criminal trespass. Criminal trespass. Y'all don't want to do that. You guys don't want us to be in DeKalb County Jail with Zoka, do you? Zoka has been incarcerated for a full month
As
as
of
of
today.
tomorrow. Oh,
No,
today?
as of today. Yeah, the 8th.
1 month.
1 month. She's still
Wow.
incarcerated.
And I assume that she's still proclaiming the kingdom and still pushing 3. And
I mean, I don't know how she's doing it, and in the well, she could. I don't know. Like, I just, from the way that my daughters explain it, like it's dormitory. It's the women's is usually like a dorm setup,
I don't give a
so
damn
it's
if
not
it's
like
a dorm.
single
Dorms are
cell.
not all that great. Yeah, a dorm with probably 40 other people in it.
Exactly. So, like, I don't know. I don't even think I could think in a situation like that. Twenty four
If she
seven.
if she's not getting daily calls, or she's not able to communicate with Team Too Much and Eligio, she could very well be in there doing some soul searching and contemplating how the rest of her life is going to unfold. And unfortunately, I'm sure that they are not getting her the help she needs. Maybe because she was, it's known that she was in a cult, or that she's in a cult. Um, they might, but this would be a great opportunity for the state to try to persuade her to testify against him. And one way they could do that is by making sure that she sees a a um a psychiatrist or a cult deprogrammer. But our justice system doesn't work that way. They're not interested in rehabilitation. They're interested in punishment. But if we were a fair society, if we were an equitable society, that is exactly what they would be doing to this girl while she's in there. They would be getting her some psychological help.
Well, I'm
Because
getting some information that says that she's not there, and somebody tried it on Beagle or something. I just got a DM.
mhm. Yeah, but you played the recording earlier. Play it again. Play it again,
I
Sam.
didn't. I didn't play it.
Oh, you haven't played it.
Inmate that you guys currently have. Listen,
Okay,
guys.
explain what this is.
The inmate's name. Hold on. Let me get it in the app, because I'm actually playing it. Did I fucking finish downloading that file? I damn sure did. What the hell? All right, where's the phone call? Right here. All right, guys. The inmate that you guys currently have listed in custody. Okay. The inmate's name of that's on the record is a Kyrenda Carter. Do you need me to spell that? Can you spell the first name? Kyrenda. And the last name is Carter. Okay, how can I help you? Is there a bond? She has a bond. How much is it? Okay, let me just add it up so it's just fine. Yes, ma'am. Thank you. 14,000. 14,000. All right. Thank you. You're welcome. Uh-huh. Okay, guys. So that was today. I made that call today because I had heard grumblings of somebody calling, or somebody saying they called and she's not there, but she's there.
They may have been looking for Jayon Marie Hamilton. The call was made this morning, Miss Leo.
Yeah.
Yeah, if they're not looking under the right name, they have to look under Kyrenda Carter.
Yeah, if you ask for Jayon, that's not her name that they have her under. They know that's her. They do know that's her. Don't get it twisted. They know it's her, but I believe they, just like with you see the 2 indicted cases, how they had to do the reassignment and do all the logistical to get the file. Uh, they're trying to, like, I guess, merge the two now.
Yes,
I'm sure there's some
the
type of
charge was.
administrative process they have to go through.
Now, I don't know if they're going to cover this in the trial. Um, uh, Booker didn't file an objection to that charge being elevated from a misdemeanor to a felony for
No, he
whatever
didn't.
reason. He seems to be completely left flat-footed on those charges. He hasn't addressed them. He didn't address them yet in the
I'm
hearing.
telling you, Booker had some rabbits.
Why do you? What makes you think that? All he has is that tape, and
If he don't have no rabbits, he gotta have some rabbits under his hat, man. And he's not trying to show his full hand.
I
He
understand
gave
that.
us a little taste in the hearing.
And in this rebuttal objection,
Mm-hmm.
he's definitely going to bring up the lovemaking. However, I believe that if Tabitha Pasmino is prosecuting this case, she's going to lay waste to that very early on. She has to, and maybe Company will too. I just think that it coming from a woman, especially an African American woman, it'll be much more effective.
You think so?
The prosecution?
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think that people will, human nature kicks in these trials, whether, we want to, juries are not robots.
Mm-hmm.
Now, juries may at some point be robots. I don't know. Someday in the future, maybe robots will sit on juries. But as of now, and these people bring their prejudices, they bring their biases and their personal experiences in. And I think that she will have to address that early on and diffuse his game plan. Like the victim was a member of a cult. She was indoctrinated and brainwashed. When this man was her spiritual guru. He took advantage of her, he manipulated her, and she at the threat of physical violence, she submitted to having sexual intercourse with him. She agreed to because she was afraid for her own safety and she was weak and vulnerable. But the bottom line is she said no. She said no multiple times, and the Mr. Bishop persisted. Not once, not twice, but several times. She's just going to have to come in like gangbusters and be really strong in it, regardless of what she referred to it as. The act itself was our word. And that's how I would defend the case. I mean, that's how I would prosecute the case. But we shall see. Judge Stacey Hydrick will probably make her decision on this next week. I don't know if the prosecutors are going to submit anything in rebuttal to this, or if what they stated on this at the hearing suffices. I don't know. Don't forget to press the like button. Yes. Don't forget to hit the like button. There's 37 people watching, only 9 likes. Hey, you can even hit the down button. If you don't
Let me see. You didn't tell Cherry about my phone?
What phone?
I had to get a switch out from Apple. That I lost the files.
Oh, no, I didn't. I forget.
I just told her. Yeah, I just told her because I mean, I lost a lot of good content myself too. And that content I wanted to do commentary on that girl Isis.
Oh yes.
Yeah, so
Oh yes. Yes. That was
yeah.
interesting.
But
That was
guys,
very
if, for those of you who are just coming in, the update is basically I know that you guys heard the transcript over at Lisa Says What and probably at Max the World Media as well. But Robert Booker has submitted his response. If you guys want to hear it, you can go back to the replay, because I'm not going to bore everybody else that's already heard it.
it's not boring actually. It
It's a little, it's very, I mean, I think he came out, I don't know, I can't count him out. There's something, I don't know.
I think I'm thinking that dude is gonna have to put his client on the stand whether he wants to or not. The only problem with that is if Pasmino is defending it, is prosecuting this, she's gonna go hard in the paint on him. She is going to make him have to explain everything, and I don't know if Eligio can keep his cool, can keep himself uh, under wraps, if he can keep from exploding during cross examination.
I
You know,
think he'll keep it together.
he hasn't been able to keep it. Look at the that when he's on the video conferencing, when they did the Zoom, he's twitching, he's looking every which way. He's hi IDOT. He's acting out and trying to ask questions. Um I don't know. I don't know if he can keep it together. I think it would be in his best interest to, but I don't think he can. And especially being cross-examined by a woman, I think that's going to throw him off. I think that is
Oh
going to throw
man,
him off. I don't know if he'll try to seduce her or what he will do. He's very unpredictable.
what he gonna do? Unbutton his smock because you know they're gonna have him in his little smocks.
Not necessarily. They probably will have him dressed in street clothes because they
No,
don't want
I'm
to
talking
prejudice the
about. No,
jury.
I'm talking about. I know not his jail attire. I'm talking about his you know, his little get ups, the little Muslim dresses.
Oh yes, the one that Kaja bought him.
Yeah, the Jesus outfit.
Yes, yes, and his turban.
Yes.
Well, if he's not okay, here's the thing: if Booker is trying to say that he's not a cult leader, however, in the jury, I mean, in the gallery, in the audience gallery, there are three women sitting there with pictures of him and their fingers perched in the three and all dressed alike coming to court every day. What does that remind you of? What is that going to remind the jury of? It's going to remind them of the Manson tribe, the Manson family. So everybody is going to view this as a cult, especially if when they start playing those videos. It all looks like a cult. It's the physical violence. It's
Right.
very cult like. Them just the video of them at after he's arrested and the in the interview they did with 11 Alive. They're all standing there at attention holding a flag, you know.
I
Very
know.
cult.
That's not just a family.
No, this is not a tribe that lived in harmony in nature.
Mm-mm. Not standing there holding their hands in pyramids.
Exactly. Exactly. It's going
Not
it's
standing there holding their hands in pyramids. Let's fly over. I'm gonna fly over real quick. I think I already flew over today, but Yep. Team Too Much has not posted a thing. Okay. Last thing they posted was 13 hours ago.
Because is that the
Last
thing
thing they
about
posted was 13 hours ago. He will
complaining
have a
about Aaron?
jury. Hold on. He will have a
Mhm.
jury that will see through all the BS. And I've been watching him for a while, and all I can see is he is not. All I can see is he is not a cult leader. He is somebody who has been awakened in the last days, like the scripture says. And, all right, y'all, buckle up. And he was just helping, walking others. Um, he was just teaching people to unlearn and relearn our ancestral knowledge. And he is a man who have a lot of friends who needed help, and he just let them join along with him on his journey. And he is a man who has plenty of wives, and he just take care and let whoever need help live with him. He is not a cult leader. People just start calling him one, but he is just a man that loves to help people who is in need. And he is just a leader, not a follower. And he is a man that practice polygamy. The end.
Who was that by?
One of their supporters.
Like I said, the whole cult situation, the whole trying to deny he was in a cult, there's too much evidence to suggest that this
I'm
was real.
surprised that they sitting up here talking about he a man. How do wives how Team Too Much allow somebody to call their Messiah a mere mortal?
Just a mere mortal. Yes. Well, they fluctuate between they're not consistent either, you know. They go from calling him their husband to their king to their god to their messiah to their chief. They're not consistent with it either, you know.
Hmm. I see Jackson Juju been real hush mouth.
As they should be.
Jax
As they
went live
should
the
be.
other day though. He did go live
Yeah, I
and
saw that.
teach
But
about
he's
melanin.
I saw his melanin. I didn't watch the whole thing. I just saw that he had on some funky glasses. They must be doing okay. They must be. I wonder if they're back in Atlanta.
Who?
Jackson Juke.
Um, I would think they are. I would
Mm.
imagine they probably are.
I wonder if
But
they're living with the wife, with the team two. Well, they're all team two. If
mm-mm,
they were living with the women.
I don't think so. I don't think they're living with them. But they might
Yes,
be. They could be.
Susan. All of Susan, every single solitary person that has written a defense of Eligio on their stories has atrocious vocabulary and grammatical skills. I don't know what these people, how these people were educated, where they were educated, if they were educated, but I just cannot believe adults would write so poorly and speak so poorly. And I know it's on social media, so things are a little more lax. But the whole purpose is to be credible when you write. And maybe that's just my stuck up ass. But
Hey,
I
Makita. Welcome. Welcome. Welcome.
Makita, haven't heard from you in a while. How are you?
Hmm.
But yes, that
Bush
drives me.
babies. Come on now, y'all can hit the like button too. If y'all, well, they might be at the beginning. Some of y'all might be at the beginning. I'm gonna replay it. Y'all want me to replay it? Anybody new to the room that wants me to replay the Booker's response? Put some glasses emoji in the chat.
Glasses emoji. But
all right.
Oh,
Miss Nielsen,
good
yes.
job. Good. Glad you're back in school.
All right,
Education
y'all ready?
is everything. It's key. Okay, yes.
IOR filed February 8th, 2024, 11:31. AM Clerk of SUPER, IORCOURT, DeKalb County, Georgia. In the Superior Court of DeKalb County, State of Georgia, case no. 22-0-2234. Against 2 feet. Eligio Bishop. Defendant's brief in response to the state's notice of intent to introduce other acts. Evidence
I want to know why he doesn't refer to him as Chief Papa John Hot Pocket.
Because that has been what?
Abandoned.
Went to OCGA. 12C. 4-4-413 and 24-4-400 and Farish. On or about January 25th, 2024, this honorable court held an evidentiary hearing to consider the state's proposed evidence under OCGA 24-4-413 and OCGA 24-4-404 B. In the instant case, the defendant is charged with rape, false imprisonment, and electronic transmission of nude or sexually explicit material. For total of counts, the alleged victim in each of the counts is the same. The state seeks to introduce evidence of what they would describe as other sexual assaults. Of the testimony of the 3 evidentiary witnesses presented on January 25th, 2024, only one of the 3 even remotely alleged sexual assault. The other 2 witnesses did not describe sexual assault, and when asked directly on cross-examination, 2 of the evidentiary witnesses denied being raped by the defendant. It is undoubted that the defendant
Pause it.
polygamous lifestyle.
Which 2 is he talking about?
I think that he's saying because I believe he's talking about number 3, victim number 3, and victim number 1. Saying because they didn't.
Yeah, victim number 1 said, I don't know.
Yes, said that she could not answer that question. But
okay.
But I believe she was referring to the other act. I don't know if she was talking about the act of her taking her virginity. I believe I read it as she was just talking about the other act. She said that she had sexual encounters with him on several occasions. That's about 3 occasions. And that those were not the R word. But the one act was. I guess it's kind of on the fence and it's left up to interpretation.
He also he's also dismissing the evidence from witness 1 and 3 where the oral situation happened against their will. That's a form.
That is. But he's saying it's not. And I guess that's what he doesn't want to have to defend, whether or not they were. He doesn't want to have to try. He doesn't think that it's fair to have the jury to have to figure out whether or not they feel it is too, because it's not cut and dry. It's not, you know what I mean? It's
right.
left up to interpretation. Okay,
you ready?
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's go, guys. Let's listen.
In the United States and various other countries prior to his arrest. The state's intent is to introduce this lifestyle to the jury by any means necessary.
The state argues that the evidence is probative. There is no probative value in at least 2 of the 3 witnesses, which failed to assert sexual assault.
So if he's saying there's no probative value in at least 2 of the 3, does he yield that there's probative in 1?
Yes.
I wonder which one.
While under oath before this honorable court, the state further seeks to admit what it describes as evidence of the defendant's physical violence. In the instant matter, the defendant is not charged with an act of physical violence. The evidence at trial is expected to be that the defendant had sexual intercourse with the purported victim in room of house where the defendant lived with the accuser and others. The state has not provided any evidence of any physical restraint or violence against the alleged victim in order to have sex on the date at issue. The defendant is not charged with any counts of battery, assault, or the like against the accuser. The defendant is instead charged with false imprisonment by allegedly confining the accuser against her will. There is no allegation within the indictment that the defendant behaved in violent manner or that the accused was injured or harmed in any way as a result of the alleged false imprisonment.
Mm-hmm.
That is not true. He is overlooking the fact that she said, and I know this is a repeat, that you got to remember, she said she was
Yeah.
violently attacked prior to the R word.
Mm-hmm.
You have to take that into consideration.
Well, devil's advocate here, maybe he's taking that stance because the actual alleged abuse or attack was not made by his client.
True. But this is why he doesn't want to call it a cult, because it was done at the behest of his client, because everyone knew if you get out of line, what is the punishment? Whack, whack, whack. That was the rules of the cult. That's why they were saying, who was in charge? Who was in charge? Did you know who was in charge? How long did it take you to realize who was in charge? So they've established that.
Mm-hmm.
The defendant is not alleged to use physical violence in order to effectuate the alleged false imprisonment. The 3 evidentiary witnesses did in fact describe alleged acts of physical violence, but there has been no allegation of physical violence in the instant case. There would be no probative value in permitting the 3 evidentiary witnesses to testify to acts of physical violence. The state alleges that the defendant posted sexually explicit videos of the alleged victim in the instant case after she left as means of harassment. The state fails to assert to the court that the same videos were posted prior to the alleged victim leaving and were active internet videos months before the alleged victim left the house.
That's not true. You know that, right?
No, what is not true?
They talking about victim, I believe it's victim number 3. They're trying to say that he posted her videos were posted long before she left. That's not true.
For the victim?
Booker is saying
no, I know, but he's saying that the victims weren't posted long before she left. Doesn't matter when she posted it.
No, he's saying that the videos were basically posted while she was there, long before she left.
It doesn't matter because she may not have had any knowledge that they were posted.
They were not posted before she left. I'm telling you, they hit Beyonce's internet after she left.
Okay.
He did it purposefully. I remember that.
The evidence provided by the state in fact shows that the purported videos were on the internet prior to the date in the indictment. In Macru First State 349 GA App 174 825 seconds Etude 569 2019. The Georgia Court of Appeals overturned lower court's ruling in allowing the testimony of wife against her husband for alleged separate sexual acts against their 2 children. The court held that the acts were not dissimilar, involved different children, and that the testimony was extremely prejudicial. In the instant matter,
There is unquestionable extreme prejudice in the offered testimony of the three evidentiary witnesses. The defendant's alleged actions in the current indictment are not what at least two of the three purported evidentiary witnesses testified to. The evidentiary witnesses did not describe evidence of false imprisonment and rape. The probative value is minor compared to the prejudicial effect. The court has to balance the probative versus prejudicial value, but most also consider the probability of confusion of the issues. In the instant case, the defendant is alleged to have had sex with the accuser alone in room, and furthermore acted in concert with others to keep the alleged victim from leaving the home here in Georgia. The three evidentiary witnesses complained of being misled by the defendant's cult and polygamous lifestyle, but have not provided information in any way similar to that of the accuser in the instant case. Furthermore, each of the three evidentiary witnesses have given numerous video interviews over the years. Many of the interviews provide direct impeachment material that the defendant will be required to present to the.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so they say that they have impeachment videos that will say that the opposite of what they've said.
Mm-hmm.
If those videos exist, please, someone inbox me, shoot them to me. I want to see them.
The
Unless
videos.
unless these are videos that he has that have not been made public. But I don't know.
The videos that he's probably talking about are all of those stupid videos that he ordered them to make.
Exactly.
Like when,
which is why he wants to get
Malia-
away from the cult, the idea that it's a cult.
Right. Like when Malia was emaciated, remember, in Puerto Rico, and she she got on live with a sandwich. Do you remember that?
No, I wasn't.
Oh my God. Who remembers that live when Malia got on live with a sandwich talking about, y'all need to leave Papa, y'all need to leave Baba G alone. I can eat. I get food. I can eat.
Some of this is really comical.
Ain't nobody doing
it's sad, but it's comical.
Huh?
It's sad, but some of it is very comical.
It's crazy. It's unbelievable and out of this world to me because of the fact that she's still there. Tanisha Dulé, aka Malia, is still there.
Mm-hmm.
And I can only imagine, after hearing these witnesses come forward with their story, I can only imagine what her story sound like, boy. Ugh. Let's continue. If she'll ever tell it.
Mm-hmm.
In order to defend himself, not against the case at hand, but just against these three extraneous allegations that are simply unrelated and likely to confuse the jury. In State v. Dowdell, 335 GA, App. 773, 783 seconds, E2D 138. The Georgia Court of Appeals held that lower court was correct in ruling that the state's need in admitting the evidence was outweighed by the lack of similarity between the three other accusations and the one at issue. The lower court also further considered and ruled correctly that the introduction of the additional accusations would certainly confuse the jury and complicate the trial. In the instant matter, the allegation is not a complex one. The accuser alleges the defendant raped her and falsely imprisoned her. That in itself is not a complex allegation and will lead to fairly straightforward trial. In the event that the court allows in these other acts requested by the state, the straightforward and streamlined case will no longer exist, as the defendant will need to thoroughly defend himself with all available evidence against each of these accusers, and the accuser in the indicted case. Furthermore, the Georgia Court of Appeals held that it was proper for the court to focus on 24-4-413 material and whether it was more probative than prejudicial, before considering the offered evidence for other relevant purposes, or not. The state alleges that the defendant committed acts of aggravated sodomy in their prior acts allegations. Only one of the three evidentiary witnesses testified to an act of sodomy. The accuser in the instant case does not allege sodomy, but instead gives an interview where she describes lovemaking with the defendant.
Hey, Izzy. Y'all heard him say that she describes lovemaking with the defendant, right? So we all know whose video he's talking about.
The jury will have to decide if a believed sexual act occurred and whether it was against the accuser's will. The state's accusation of prior act of aggravated sodomy by intimidation does in no way comport with the case brought by the state in the matter at hand. The description of his alleged other act does not in any way provide probative knowledge to the jury. In State v. Shalkeen, 2023, GA, Applexus 555 at 23 1737, the Georgia Supreme Court ruled the major function of Rule 403 is to exclude matters of scant or cumulative probative force, dragged in by the heels for the sake of its prejudicial effects due to the danger that the jury may convict the defendant not for the offense charged but for the extrinsic offense. The jury would certainly be exposed to tremendous amount of extrinsic material that would certainly tend to convince the jury that the defendant is cult leader and rapes all the women within the cult and furthermore treats them with acts of violence to control them. The evidentiary witnesses did not all testify to acts of physical violence or rape. The state alleges that the evidentiary witnesses were forced to have oral or anal sex due to zero fear of being harmed.
Pause.
The accuser in the instant.
Mm-hmm.
There was nothing stated one way or the other whether they felt fear as to why they acquiesced in the sex with him. The prosecutor didn't mention it, and neither did the victim. That doesn't mean that they weren't in fear of their safety. Doesn't mean that.
No, not at all. Not at all.
So,
Case does not make such an allegation. The accuser does not report having sex due to the defendant's violent nature or because he purportedly threatened her to do so. The state contends that without such context, it would be impossible for the jury to truly understand the victim's experience or to analyze the issue of consent in this case. The state simply fails to provide the court with actual evidence from the instant matter that the purported victim does not make such an accusation of similarity as that of the three evidentiary witnesses. Conclusion. The defendant requests that this honorable court exclude the testimony of all three witnesses introduced at the hearing. The defendant respectfully asks the court to closely analyze and review the testimony of each of the three witnesses and compare them to the actual allegations in the case at issue. The defendant is in possession of what he believes to be impeachment material for each of the alleged other act witnesses. The defendant's necessity.
Mm-hmm.
okay, so he's saying that he can impeach all of their testimony.
Yep.
The three witnesses. What is his impeachment evidence? Do you have any speculation?
Videos of them singing his praises, I'm sure.
Oh, besides that, they were in. Okay.
Or maybe they could have private videos that they haven't shared with the public.
That's what I'm thinking. That is exactly what I'm thinking. But if it was all during the same time, they were still under, his authority and under his brainwashing.
Yeah, but if he has video evidence showing them, the cult, I don't know how Booker's going to leave the cult part out. I know the prosecution ain't.
No. They're not going to lean too heavy on it, but they're not going to.
No, they're going to, no. They're going to have a banner up at the front of the court. This is a cult leader trial. Because Tabitha Pasmito made that very clear when she presented it at every bond hearing.
Absolutely. She leaned
every last one, because that's a huge element of this case.
Yes, it's not just a guy with a bunch of girlfriends, and some of them he liked to do this, and some of them he liked to do that, and they were all willing participants. Victim number 2 definitely stated she did not want it. Now, she didn't say she didn't want it, but she did say, hey, I just witnessed somebody getting their ass beat. I didn't want to be a part of it. I didn't want that to happen to me, so I just let him do what he needed to do, so that I didn't become a victim of abuse. I mean, she didn't say that, but that's what she implied. Right. And I'm pretty sure the prosecutor can get that testimony out of her. But if he's got Eligio might have videos, because remember, there's so much that we don't know. There's so much that was not put on on the internet, that wasn't live. So he may be able to defend himself on some of these allegations. Now, the one with the woman who claims to be his married to him, I don't know, because she adamant that she was adamant that this, and that she witnessed some of it, of the sexual assault by witness number one. And I was present during that time. Didn't you?
She was. There's video evidence actually to impeach that part of her statement. There is.
Okay. Well, got to be careful
coming
of that
from
too.
Her own mouth. Coming out of her own mouth.
Maybe that's what.
Hey, Libby Lou, hit me up on IG, MEDAYA_2021. Anybody who has participated in the raffle, as far as donations and things like that, y'all hit me up on IG so we could add you guys to the chat. It's a private chat. I will be screening folks, but Libby Lou, I've been looking for you to hit me up on IG.
Yeah, BB London too. I don't know where BB London is, but she's a donor.
Oh, BB London too? Okay.
I think so. I have to check but I thought maybe I just assumed.
All right, y'all. So that was, wait, let me see. Was that it? Hold on.
Defending himself will further lead to confusion of the issues and far more prejudicial information being presented and refuted than if the current case remained solely based upon the issues at hand.
He does not want to. You're right, Lisa. He doesn't want the 4.
He doesn't have to defend all 4 of those incidents.
Nope.
And he's right that the jury could say, well, maybe he didn't commit with the victim. Maybe he was making love. Maybe she's just a scorn lover. Maybe she wanted to be queen. However, these other 3, I think he was guilty of those, and so we'll convict him because of it. So I get his point.
Yeah, I do too, but I don't know where the judge is going to land on it.
Well, I think so far she's been very attentive. She's been paying attention. She wants to get this right, and she'll make the right decision. If she doesn't allow them, it will be because she decided that it's just too prejudicial, and the circumstances are so different that it would do nothing but prejudice the jury.
I don't know that the circumstances are that different.
No. I'm saying she could come back and say that. I don't think that they're different, but I'm biased. I know more than the jury. This is just for the jury's consumption. You know what I mean? People who are coming into this raw blank, no idea.
All right, y'all, hold on. This just in. Lisa says what? This just in. All right. They have amended the list to include a expert witness.
Whoop. Whoa.
Domestic violence and trauma.
Very good. Very good. That makes their defense, their prosecution, far more robust. Did that post today?
Yep. The state hereby, matter of fact, let me go ahead and get this. And yo, what? Okay, prosecution. They working now. Now they working. They working now. It's just one page also, Lisa.
Okay, that's exactly what I was saying because some of this is very hard to understand if you're not familiar with DV and sexual assault and cult and mind control and trauma.
Mm-hmm.
Did they say who it is?
Who, the special, the expert?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Let me see. Hold on. Files. I was trying to download. It's two. All
Oh
right.
wow.
The state hereby notifies the defendant that it intends to call Amanda Blanchard as an expert witness in domestic violence and trauma. The state expects Amanda Blanchard to testify regarding the trauma response as it pertains to reports of sexual assault, domestic violence, and common patterns of behavior and misconceptions as they pertain to several assault and domestic violence. Wait a minute. As they pertain sexual assault, my bad, and domestic violence. Other possible topics of testimony include her training and experience in the field and research and lecture upon which best practices have been developed. And that is
Mm.
submitted this 8th day of February, for Amanda Blanchard to be an expert witness. Now, the next expert witness
Mm-hmm.
is two. All right. Y'all, oh my God. Y'all going, this is a key, y'all. This is a key. I'm not even playing with y'all right now. I'm done. Oh God. Keep both. All right,
Wait a minute.
y'all.
Okay, you
Are
got
you guys
okay,
ready
come
for
on.
this?
No, we're not. Hurry, tell us.
All right. The state hereby notifies the defendant that it intends to call Rick Ross.
No, Rick Allen
Listen,
Ross.
listen, as an expert witness in cults and cult dynamics.
Yes. Yes, we have watched
The
Rick
state
Allen Ross.
expects Rick Ross to testify regarding cults, cult leaders, cult dynamics, to include the means by which cult leaders obtain and maintain control over cult members. Further topics of discussion of testimony may include common patterns of behavior and misconception as they pertain to cult members and former cult members. Other possible topics of testimony include his training and experience in the field and the research and lecture uh, relied upon within the field. So they do have a cult expert on deck.
And everyone, if you watch my show, we have talked about Rick Allen Ross many times. He is the president of the Cult Education Institute, and it is a website aggregate that maintains a database of every cult imaginable. And so you can, and they have been tracking carbonation since the Ethereum melanation days. Rick Allen Ross, uh,
That's
how
who
he
they're
became.
calling.
Yes, Rick Allen Ross is an American deprogrammer, cult specialist, and
I'm looking
founder
him up right
executive
now.
director of a nonprofit cult education. He frequently appears in the news and on media discussion groups. Yes,
Oh, that's
we talked about him.
amazing.
Yeah, I was hoping that him or Dr. Stephen Hassan were going to be a part of this trial. And
Wow.
yeah, that's
That's
major.
major.
So the prosecutors are definitely labeling this a cult and these victims and witnesses as cult members. Now, of course, Booker is going to try to say that that is not the case, that they don't fall under that category. But Rick Allen Ross is a pro. He has been in this business for a long time. How he got into it, his aunt was in a nursing home, and cult members came and were preying on people in nursing homes to get their money, to get their devotion. And when he found out about it, he started investigating, and uh, that's how he got into uh, becoming a cult deprogrammer. I know that's a outdated term, but for a lack of a better word. So he has worked on every code. I believe he testified at the Rashad Jamal case. I know he did commentary on law crime about it, and he even mentioned carbonation. So he's very familiar with carbonation and their tactics, motives, and this is bad news for Eligio, but good news for the prosecution.
They getting an expert.
Hey, you guys, you're not getting this information from any other channel, not even mine. You guys are not getting this up to the minute content from anywhere else. Hit that Cash App and make sure the like button has been pressed. Thank you. That is my public service announcement.
Thank you.
Yes, MEDAYA, she
This
is
so
on
crazy.
top of it. Yes. So I just said that. I just said I hope so, because it's starting to get complicated, especially when you add these three witnesses into the mix. It can get very complicated, and the jury, who probably the only cult they've ever heard of, is what's his name, Jim Jones. That's probably the only cult most people are familiar with, and maybe Charles Manson and the Manson cult.
Mm-hmm.
And as you know, those had tragic endings. So, but they're gonna need somebody to explain this. Booker got.
I wonder who Booker's gonna call as a non-cult expert.
Maybe he'll bring somebody
he's
in
gonna have to take the stand.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because it's an uphill battle for Booker. I wonder if he can object to having them saying that this is not a cult, so we don't need cult deprogrammer. He can't say that it wasn't abusive.
Oh, wow. Makita just looked up Amanda and said that Blanchard is the Victim Services Director in DeKalb County.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa.
I just saw that. Yep.
Wow.
So this is going to be amazing. This is going to be amazing. This gets. I told you guys that we were going to get inundated with content, with documents and filings right before the trial.
Well, they're calling it experts, so that's pretty amazing. I'm gonna do my research on Mr. Rick Ross. I'm the biggest boss. That's why I was like, y'all ready for this?
Okay, so this is what happened. He owned Rick Allen Ross owned rickross.com, right? So Rick Ross, the rapper, approached him about buying it from him. He wanted to own the name rickross.com. And they negotiated a price, but Rick Ross, the rapper, didn't want to pay it. And so Rick Allen Ross still owns rickross.com. He says he gets so many questions and people reaching out to him that think he's the rapper, that he's become fully affluent, fully indoctrinated in his music and his life and his what is he owns? What are those things he owns? Wingstops. And his Wingstop business. Rick Allen Ross is personable. He doesn't come off really intimidating. That's big. That is big. And they have two specialists. The woman who is going to be able to attest to abusive relationships, especially where the third victim is concerned. The third witness, excuse me, the third witness is concerned. Um, and then he's going to bring it on home with the cult analysis. So you're right, Wendell. Booker has one more thing to worry about, which he should have been able to anticipate this. Maybe he's got to bring on his own witness, his own specialist.
On what?
Who knows if they can even afford it, because those people have to be paid. They
Yeah.
have to. The state has to pay Rick Ross to.
Yes, they do, and they have to pay for his lodging and all that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Sounds like Amanda is already. What do you call it? Amanda is already located there in DeKalb County.
Mm-hmm.
But, whew, well, it's official. It is official. This is going to be off the chain.
Yeah.
Get your merch today, guys. Don't forget to get your merch. Enter to win $4 raffle today. I know most of you already have, but all you folks in the bushes and on the replay gang, don't forget it's getting crunch time. We got to make these donations. You got to make your donations. If you want this kind of good content,
Yes.
you're not getting it anywhere else.
Come on, guys. There's 15, and I always say this. I have 1,552 subscribers. If everybody sent $1,
That's what I'm
we'd be
saying.
straight. To be honest with y'all, if everybody
Okay,
sent me $1, let's
50
hold
of
on.
those. Wait a minute. 50 of
Go
those
ahead.
people are hate watching you, but go ahead.
Okay, well, 1,500. Let's say 1,500, right?
Hmm.
Listen, guys. First of all, this is shaping up to be something that probably is not going to be able to be handled within the time frame they have set. Especially deliberations. We can't anticipate that. If y'all want me, and Lisa says what, to be there through the verdict, come on now. The donations have to come in. I'm put my tip jar, I open myself up to donations. My tip jar is all over the channel, meaning my Cash App, $ DANNISPLATE2020. So I open myself up, but like we were talking about it, staying till verdict, but it's so unpredictable. It could take weeks for them to, a week for them to reach a verdict.
Absolutely.
Especially if Booker come in there swinging.
He better. He better. He's been paid a lot of money. He's been on this case for. uh
2 years.
No, he hasn't been on that long. Remember, he's the
Oh yeah, he had Khalil.
second paid.
He had
Oh
that
my goodness!
funeral
Can you
director
imagine
guy.
the funeral director? He
That's
had the
how he
slipping.
looked. That's how he was dressed, in my opinion.
He's a slip and fall attorney who had no business trying to uh, uh, defend against 4 felonies. None whatsoever. He was way in over his head. And I've said that a million times. I know you guys are sick of me uh, bashing Khalil Edie, but he shouldn't have taken the case. He just made it
That's
worse.
hilarious. But yeah, guys, I got my tip jar out. I'm not even playing. Ain't no shame in my game. Because
No, because
it's gonna be
you're not
either I
working
get
for a
tips.
network.
Look, it's either I get tips or I got a strip. And I don't want to strip, y'all.
She gave you guys a little preview.
I'm gonna be
of-
honest. I sure did. But look, I'm gonna be honest. Somebody told me that I should open a OnlyFans.
Who told you that?
I'm not gonna tell.
You have far more to offer other than your beautiful body.
They were like,
You
I
have your
could give
beautiful
naked
brain.
updates.
Naked update. Just sit there naked and talk about carbonation.
Yes.
Too much. Too much. Oh, that's
I'm just
amazing. Well,
saying.
that is amazing. I'm going to have to post that on my community wall.
But
That's awesome.
I want to say before I get off of here or get away from this part of the conversation, I
Mhm.
do want to say thank you, a huge thank you to all of the folks who actually support the channel on a consistent basis. Like I just want to point that out. That's for all my haters. Just so y'all know, there are people who continuously support this channel on a regular basis, and I appreciate you guys because it's not easy.
No, and you do a lot. I mean, you make sure that there's new content every day on a case that um more people are starting to become aware of. More
Mm-hmm.
people are starting to report on this, and the mainstream media is going to get a hold of it, and they're going to put their slant on it, and it's easy for people like us to get kind of dismissed. So you have to make sure that we're in there strong and can compete with these bigger networks.
Nah, Lisa, look, they can't get rid of us. It's too hard because you know why? With Daya,
The Medea movement.
with Daya, man, with Daya. No,
Have you
but
did
it's
you send me
true.
those? Did you send me that document?
I thought I did. Hold on.
I knew you were gonna say Rick Allen Ross. Oh my
How
goodness.
did you know I was gonna say it?
Because there's only two major cult deprogrammers that testify at uh, hearings like this. And Rick
Really?
Allen Ross is one, and Dr. Stephen Hassan is the other. Dr. Stephen Hassan, I mean, he was actually in a cult, you
Oh
know.
wow.
Yeah, he was
Was
a
Rick
part of the
Allen
Moonies.
Ross in a cult?
No, no, no. His aunt, I mean, his grandmother was in a rest home,
Mm-hmm.
and a cult group came uh, to her old folks' home and tried to indoctrinate her, and that's how he got involved. He also he testified at the Waco siege about the Branch Davidians, which is David Koresh, that happened there in Waco, Texas in '87. Let me see. In 1987, Ross deprogrammed two former members of the Branch Davidians in upstate New York, and in 1988 began receiving calls about Davidians group led by David Koresh in Waco, Texas. Ross was the only deprogrammer to work with the Branch Davidian members prior to the 1993 siege at Waco. The CBS television network hired Ross as an on scene analyst for coverage of the Waco siege, and he was consulted by the Federal Bureau of Investigation as well.
Wow.
Criticism of government agencies involved with Ross has come from Nancy Emmerman, a professor of social religion, who cites FBI interviews notes which state Ross has a personal hatred for all religious cults. That's not true. He's a, devout Jew, I believe. So he understands religion. It's just that when you mix religion with corrosive behavior and control, it becomes a cult.
Right.
And I hope, and that's what he's got to get the jury to understand. This is not an assault on this man's religion or his spiritual beliefs or his lifestyle. That's fine. That's all legal, fair game. Fair, when it becomes a cult is when there's a leader who controls everything, which is why the line of questioning by the district attorney in that hearing was who he asked each of the witnesses who was in charge. And who
Yeah.
did they all say? Eligio Bishop. That's why they
Mhm.
asked that question. They wanted to establish that, and I'm sure they're going to establish that very early on in um in the trial.
I think they are.
Ooh, thank you. Somebody just send me a cash app. Hallelujah. Who is this? Oh, my love. I love you, Susan. Susan, thank you so much. I appreciate you. I really do. You guys, this is amazing. This is amazing. All right, so
I'm over here. I'm over here just in awe because it's really happening, and like this is going to be a part of history for real.
yes, and we don't know how big this case is going to get. If we know that it's going to be huge in Atlanta. People in
Well,
Atlanta.
he did say that he is open and willing to take this to the Supreme Court.
Good luck with that.
I mean, he
That
said he's
means
willing to.
I'm sure he is. What lawyer is he going to be able to afford to take this to the Supreme Court? Because I'm pretty sure after this, Booker is going to move on to his other cases. He already
Isn't
said
he?
it.
Aren't you entitled to proper? Like, don't they have to provide him a defense counsel?
I don't know if they have to provide him a defense counsel for an appeal. I think just for his initial indictment.
Hmm.
I don't think that the state supplies an attorney for an appeal.
Hmm.
You have a right to appeal, and he could quite possibly find him an attorney who will do this pro bono.
He could.
Well, he better get
He
started on
could.
it now. There's always attorneys out there who will take on high profile cases. So I wonder if they're going to be showing this case in Hawaii because there is a connection there. Hawaii, um, Ohio, and Georgia and New York. Most
I
of
just
my
know when the news
subscribers
people
come from.
come up to me, Lisa, when the news people come up to me, I'm gonna be like, no comment.
Have your sunglasses on.
Yeah, no
Mm-mm-mm.
comment.
Yeah, most of my subscribers come from New York. New York, Georgia,
Okay.
Hawaii, and some in Canada. I think this story is gonna make it to Canada because Canada was very invested in this story. The CBC, they're the ones who did that documentary with Benzan initially. When Kayla, what was her name? Kayla
Read.
Reed. When Kayla Reed
Hmm.
was a part of carbonation. So it is an international story. It's even I bet the Central America, the people in Belize, all those expats that chased them out of the country, they weren't deported from Belize. They were chased out. Isn't that true? Do I have that part
Hmm.
uh correct? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Were they chased out of where?
Belize. Remember when they were that woman who owned the store there, all those expats there, they kind of found out about the penis video and demanded that they leave. Did I get that
Mm.
right? Blog Lurker knows.
I didn't even notice that anybody that people joined the raffle. Okay, Susan. Okay, Kay. I'm not gonna say the name because I think that's a legal name. But okay, Kay. Now, Kay, can you please hit me up on IG? Hit me up on IG. It's Medea underscore 2021. I mean 20 yeah, 2021. Medea underscore 2021. Hit me up on IG. I didn't even notice because I had my phone on silent.
Oh
So
yeah.
I'll go ahead and add the entries into the raffle. We're gonna be doing paper again, guys. So I'm typing up everybody's name just like I did last time, folding all the papers just like I did last time, and
So
picking
that
it
I
out the
will.
bag. And
She's
Lisa's
doing
not
it.
participating this time.
She's doing it that way, so I can't win. I'm objecting. I object. I think I should get a T-shirt out of the deal.
Objection, Your Honor.
Whew. Mm-mm-mm. This is going to be amazing. All right, it's 3 o'clock uh, Pacific Standard Time. I gotta run, but thank you so much, Medea. Um, Thank you guys for joining us. I had a great time. This was a lot of good information. Are you going to continue to play the rest?
That was it. That was all of it.
Okay. Okay.
That
Um,
was the end of it. So we
Send me
got
the
through
doc.
it. But guys, Lisa, thank you as always. And Wendell, I want to say thank you to you too, because Wendell came up on the panel and gave some great insight and had me thinking a different way
Mm-hmm.
as far as how Booker is trying to approach it. And he has a good point. Because if he can hang his hat on the fact that they were not there, that might work.
That's where he should have definitely added that in his summation, in his rebuttal, that these people were not there. They weren't a part of the. They may not have even been a part of the cult at the same time as the victim. Uh,
That's what would probably be in court. Like to
mhm.
if they allow it, that's probably where he's gonna stick his teeth in and say, listen, they were not there at the time of these indicted charges.
True. True.
So
All
all
right, love bug. All right. I'll check you later. Ciao, ciao.
right, girl. Thank you. All right, guys. So that was all that I had for you today. I mean, really amazing stuff. Let's do a quick recap. And I'm going to play it uninterrupted just one more time for the folks who are just getting in the building. Um, I want to make sure that you can find it anytime throughout this video. So I'm going to play it just one more time for good measure. Y'all want me to play it one more time for good measure? Anybody new in the room want to hear it one more time before I get up out of here? And what I'm talking about is Robert Booker actually filed his response to the from and regarding the evidentiary hearing. He filed his response. And hey, Gaia. And I actually played it a little earlier. Anybody need to hear it? Now for the raffle for your. Oh, thank you so much, Susan. I appreciate you. Anybody want to hear it? Going once, going twice. I don't see nothing in the comments, so I'm assuming that y'all don't want to hear it. This is getting serious, guys. This is getting deep. Information is coming out. Okay, Gaia, you do all right. Cool. Hey, now there go Wendell. So I'll play it one more time for those who are just getting here. And again, this is Robert Booker's response to the hearing that was held on January 25th, 2024. The new evidence that the prosecution is attempting to submit and introduce.
February 8th, 2024, 11:31. AM Clerk of SUPER, IORCOUR, DeKalb County, Georgia. In the Superior Court of DeKalb County, State of Georgia, Case No. 22-0-2234. Against 2 feet. Eligio Bishop. Defendant's brief in response to the state's notice of intent to introduce other acts. Evidence pursuant to OCGA 12C 4-400.
Give me 1 second, y'all. I gotta switch up because my phone keeps dinging, and it's my phone that I do a lot of my work from. And I don't want to miss anything that's happening right now. Like, that's not an option for me right now. So therefore, I'm transferring.
13 and 24 minus 4 minus 400 and for
Trying to transfer the file.
On or about January 25th, 2024, this honorable court held an evidentiary hearing to.
Okay.
Of SUPER. Defendant's brief in response to the state's notice of intent to introduce other acts. Evidence pursuant to OCGA 24 minus 413 and 24 minus 4 minus 400 and Farage. On or about January 25th, 2024, this honorable court held an evidentiary hearing to consider the state's proposed evidence under OCGA 24 minus 4 minus 413 and OCGA 24 minus 4 minus 404 B. In the instant case, the defendant is charged with rape, false imprisonment, and electronic transmission of nude or sexually explicit material. For total of counts, the alleged victim in each of the counts is the same. The state seeks to introduce evidence of what they would describe as other sexual assaults. Of the testimony of the 3 evidentiary witnesses presented on January 25th, 2024, only one of the 3 even remotely alleged sexual assault. The other 2 witnesses did not describe sexual assault, and when asked directly on cross-examination, 2 of the evidentiary witnesses denied being raped by the defendant. It is undoubted that the defendant lived polygamous lifestyle in the United States and various other countries prior to his arrest. The state's intent is to introduce this lifestyle to the jury by any means necessary. The state argues that the evidence is probative. There is no probative value in at least 2 of the 3 witnesses, which failed to assert sexual assault while under oath before this honorable court. The state further seeks to admit what it describes as evidence of the defendant's physical violence. In the instant matter, the defendant is not charged with an act of physical violence. The evidence at trial is expected to be that the defendant had sexual intercourse with the purported victim in room of house where the defendant lived with the accuser and others. The state has not provided any evidence of any physical restraint or violence against the alleged victim in order to have sex on the date at issue. The defendant is not charged with any counts of battery, assault, or the like against the accuser. The defendant is instead charged with false imprisonment by allegedly confining the accuser against her will. There is no allegation within the indictment that the defendant behaved in violent manner, or that the accused was injured or harmed in any way as a result of the alleged false imprisonment. The defendant is not alleged to use physical violence in order to effectuate the alleged false imprisonment. The 3 evidentiary witnesses did in fact describe alleged acts of physical violence, but there has been no allegation of physical violence in the instant case. There would be no probative value in permitting the 3 evidentiary witnesses to testify to acts of physical violence. The state alleges that the defendant posted sexually explicit videos of the alleged victim in the instant case after she left as means of harassment. The state fails to assert to the court that the same videos were posted prior to the alleged victim leaving and were active internet videos months before the alleged victim left the house. The evidence provided by the state in fact shows that the purported videos were on the internet prior to the date in the indictment. In Macru First State 349 GA App 174 825 seconds E2 569 2019. The Georgia Court of Appeals overturned lower court's ruling in allowing the testimony of wife against her husband for alleged separate sexual acts against their 2 children. The court held that the acts were not dissimilar, involved different children, and that their testimony was extremely prejudicial. In the instant matter, there is unquestionable extreme prejudice in the offered testimony of the 3 evidentiary witnesses. The defendant's alleged actions in the current indictment are not what at least 2 of the 3 purported evidentiary witnesses testified to. The evidentiary witnesses did not describe evidence of false imprisonment and rape. The probative value is minor compared to the prejudicial effect. The court has to balance the probative versus prejudicial value, but most also consider the probability of confusion of the issues. In the instant case, the defendant is alleged to have had sex with the accuser alone in room, and furthermore acted in concert with others to keep the alleged victim from leaving the home here in Georgia. The three evidentiary witnesses complained of being misled by the defendant's cult and polygamous lifestyle, but have not provided information in any way similar to that of the accuser in the instant case. Furthermore, each of the three evidentiary witnesses have given numerous video interviews over the years. Many of the interviews provide direct impeachment material that the defendant will be required to present to the jury in order to defend himself, not against the case at hand, but just against these three extraneous allegations that are simply unrelated and likely to confuse the jury. In State v. Dowdell, 335 GA, App. 773, 783 seconds, E2D 138. The Georgia Court of Appeals held that lower court was correct in ruling that the state's need in admitting the evidence was outweighed by the lack of similarity between the three other accusations and the one at issue. The lower court also further considered and ruled correctly that the introduction of the additional accusations would certainly confuse the jury and complicate the trial. In the instant matter, the allegation is not a complex one. The accuser alleges the defendant raped her and falsely imprisoned her. That in itself is not a complex allegation and will lead to fairly straightforward trial. In the event that the court allows state, the straightforward and streamlined case will no longer exist, as the defendant will need to thoroughly defend himself with all available evidence against each of these accusers, and the accuser in the indicted case. Furthermore, the Georgia Court of Appeals held that it was proper for the court to focus on 24-4-413 material in whether it was more probative than prejudicial, before considering the offered evidence for other relevant purposes, or not. The state alleges that the defendant committed acts of aggravated sodomy in their prior acts allegations. Only one of the three evidentiary witnesses testified to an act of sodomy. The accuser in the instant case does not allege sodomy, but instead gives an interview where she describes lovemaking with the defendant. The jury will have to decide if they believe sexual act occurred and whether it was against the accuser's will. The state's accusation of prior act of aggravated sodomy by intimidation does in no way comport with the case brought by the state in the matter at hand. The description of this alleged other act does not in any way provide probative knowledge to the jury. In State v. Chalkeen, 2023, GA, Applexus 555 at 23 1737, the Georgia Supreme Court ruled the major function of Rule 403 is to exclude matters of scant or cumulative probative force, dragged in by the heels for the sake of its prejudicial effects due to the danger that the jury may convict the defendant not for the offense charged but for the extrinsic offense. The jury would certainly be exposed to tremendous amount of extrinsic material that would certainly tend to convince the jury that the defendant is cult leader and rapes all the women within the cult and furthermore treats them with acts of violence to control them. The evidentiary witnesses did not all testify to acts of physical violence or rape. The state alleges that the evidentiary witnesses were forced to have oral or anal sex due to zero fear of being harmed. The accuser in the instant case does not make such an allegation. The accuser does not report having sex due to the defendant's violent nature or because he purportedly threatened her to do so. The state contends that without such context, it would be impossible for the jury to truly understand the victim's experience or to analyze the issue of consent in this case. The state simply fails to provide the court with actual evidence from the instant matter that the purported victim does not make such an accusation of similarity as that of the three evidentiary witnesses. Conclusion. The defendant requests that this honorable court exclude the testimony of all three witnesses introduced at the hearing. The defendant respectfully asks the court to closely analyze and review the testimony of each of the three witnesses and compare them to the actual allegations in the case at issue. The defendant is in possession of what he believes to be impeachment material for each of the alleged other act witnesses. The defendant's necessity in defending himself will further lead to confusion of the issues and far more prejudicial information being presented and refuted than if the current case remained solely based upon the issues at hand. The defendant respectfully requests this honorable court to deny the state's request to submit the evidence of other acts.
Respectfully submitted this day of February 2024. Robert L. Booker G. Abarno, 639,000.
So that's it, folks. That is his response. And I gave my reaction live earlier in this live. So if you guys want to hear my reaction, you could run it back. But that's all I got for y'all today, as well as the fact that we learned that they are bringing in Rick Allen Ross, cult deprogrammer, and Amanda Blanchard, domestic violence expert and trauma expert. So that's going to be very interesting. This trial is shaping up to be a good one and one to watch, guys. So stay tuned. Thank you guys for supporting. Thank you guys for joining the raffle. Again, we will have the drawing soon. And if you have donated to the channel or supported the raffle, please hit me on IG. My IG is MEDAYA_2021. All right, y'all. So until next time, take it easy.